children are really being raped and sodomized. As early as the lowest age I've ever seen is 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, what? 9 months, a child was a baby girl who was raped. And the child was completely destroyed, her private parts, joined together with the anal. So it's so painful.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
9 months.
Yes. When you are sober, you are able to think that. But there are men who have a mindset, but mostly it is something that you may have watched or read. There are books that people read, and they are told that if you want to remove a bad omen, if you want to get good luck, cultic books, they are told that when you have sex with a child who is innocent, who has never had sex, there are many things that can go. Even there are cults that teach that if you have a sickness that is terminal and you want to eliminate out of your life, you need to have sex with a child who has never, a small child who is less than even 5 years.
Thank you again for joining us for Naked Not Ashamed show. To our question today, the question is asking that, alas, then will help us go through it. My name is so-and-so. I've been married for the last 5 years, and we've been having issues with the sex with my wife, who is always against having sex. It began right after our honeymoon, whereby we stayed 1 week without having sex. We've tried to go through healing process, and we discovered that my wife was raped by her own father at the age of 7. But I never believed it because I don't believe a man can sleep with a 7-year-old child. Is it true, or she's just trying to avoid having sex with me?
Hey.
So sad.
7 years old. How?
Most of the topics when we discuss them, you come in with energy. But when it comes to issues that involve children
minor
and sexual offense,
yes,
you can even lack words. You feel as a mother or as a person who is concerned for those little lives, you tend to imagine this is an innocent person who probably doesn't even know what it is, what is entailed in the sex and the whole process.
Yeah.
And now they have to deal.
So maybe I'll say that, number one, I think every person they get married, they always look forward to that sex. Both the wife and the husband. When you get married, you always look forward to that day you have sex in your marriage. So you find that now you get married and it's 1 week and the wife is trying to avoid. I tend to believe this lady because it's not normal. And if she went through raping at the age of 7, it must have been a very traumatic experience and it's still disturbing until her now.
Yeah.
So a question is then a question. What will a man see on a 7-year-old under the marriage?
Underage.
Does such things happen? Maybe you've been in this field for a long time. Have you encountered such cases, or this is a new one?
Have you, my dear?
Hey, that's very sad.
Yes.
But it is happening. It's important for you to know that children are really being raped and sodomized. As early as the lowest age I've ever seen is 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, what? 9 months, a child was a baby girl who was raped. And the child was completely destroyed, her private parts, joined together with the anal. So it's so painful.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
9 months.
Yes. When you are sober, you are able to think that. But there are men who have a mindset, but mostly it is something that you may have watched or read. There are books that people read, and they are told that if you want to remove a bad omen, if you want to get good luck, cultic books, they are told that when you have sex with a child who is innocent, who has never had sex, there are many things that can go. Even there are cults that teach that if you have a sickness that is terminal and you want to eliminate out of your life, you need to have sex with a child who has never, a small child who is less than even 5 years. So there is a lot of evil taking place.
I remember there was a time there used to be this circulating myth that when somebody is HIV positive, they defile a minor and it reduces the makali ya hiyo ugonjwa. The punks of the virus goes down, the viral load it reduces when you defile a minor, you get sexually interact with the minor, which is quite selfish and extreme.
And weird, it's not the truth.
It is
So
extreme.
weird, actually.
It's not the truth.
Yeah.
You take
It's
somebody's life to sustain your life. How
But
selfish
you are
can that be?
infecting that child.
You're taking someone's life, literally.
Thank
They're
you.
taking the innocence of this baby, their destiny, their life, because they
Very true.
put a lot of virus in the person. So these people actually they're off, they're dark.
Yeah, and it's actually a problem. It's a mental disorder. It's a mental disorder because this person is not normal. Because in the normal circumstance, you even you even thrill, you even dread. You don't want to be associated with something like that.
Yeah.
You can imagine what we are just feeling, and it's not our daughter, it's not our son. You can tell your conscience is telling you that's a no-go zone. And I think there's something that we need to also teach our children, especially the baby child. If you're there, you are a mother, you are a father, and you have sons. You need to teach your sons as early as possible to know that they are supposed not to rape any woman, whether a small girl, whether a big person, because rape has its own consequences. You can imagine the cry, you can imagine the groaning from this small girl, because those are people who have, even their private parts have not developed. They are not fully developed, and you have traumatized this. I don't know why men tend to think that when they do this to a child, though you are the father, they will forget. There is that myth. Yeah, that's what most of them think. If I do it with my daughter, she's very small,
And she will never remember.
and she will never remember. It's like you are dealing with a toy. You know, it's like you are dealing with like a robot daughter, and that's not true. Because anything, even you can remember something that was done to you negatively or positively by someone when you are less than 5 years. So there's a lot of children molestations that is taking and abuse, sexual abuse, a lot of children being really raped right, left, center. And I think it's because of moral decay, people watching pornography, people watching bestiality, watching all these things that are just to our access to our phones. So you're finding most human beings have now become more like animals, and there are all these causes because number one, when you come from a dysfunctional family where your mother and your father, there's no peace at home for them, the children don't have a good environment for them to grow emotionally, psychologically, even spiritually when they are whole. You find such an environment, sexual abuse comes in because most of the times if a mother is chased away and the father has to go to his work, so the neighbors may take advantage of these children. So broken homes, and that's why we are really against divorce and separation.
Exactly.
And if it is good to begin right when you are a youth, marry someone whom you are so sure that you have the same belief system, you have the same values, you people fear the Lord. This thing is a great, the foundation of your marriage is very important. Don't just be driven by sex, that you just want to marry a beautiful woman, a man with six-pack. Those are not things that really, because if you start your marriage on a wrong foundation, you will find that at the end of the day you are not able to stay together. And when you are not able to stay together, the people that suffer most are the children, and they are innocent. They don't even know where you met. They don't even know where you loved each other or you hated one another. So dysfunctional families is one of the ways where these children find themselves now vulnerable, and the enemy is able to take advantage of it. You find most of them, even when there is no good communication, even with the children, with the parent, these children, even when they are molested or they are sexually abused, they are not able to speak out. They keep quiet because they see mom is stressed, dad also comes with the stress, and they wonder, will I add mom more stress? If I tell him that dad is doing 1, 2, 3, or the brother, the sister is also taking advantage sexually, will I add my mom? Children also don't want to put too much pressure to their children. Though they are young, they're able to tell when we are stressed. So those are the causes sometimes when you come from a dysfunctional family, where there is a lot of, the mother keeps going home and coming back, carrying the children and some being left. That kind of environment, people, the predators are able to look and see this is an opportunity for me to strike. And that's why you're finding so many children are really being sexually molested. When there is also children watching or parents watching pornography, as we have said. Sexual perversion. I would call it sexual abuse in children is actually a serious perversion.
It's a serious.
And very painful.
It's a toxic painful thing because I think it needs also to be amplified well enough. We need to just have people who are coming up strongly to speak, because I feel like just these sexual offenders really need to be seriously apprehended. That is one thing, because you are cutting off somebody's future. And mom talking over dysfunctionality of a home. These children really need to, I think like a society, there might need for a rescue space, whereby these children, for example, when they are growing up in a let's say in a very tense environment, mom going, there is a safe space that, or safe exit for them to settle for a while, because you find that even when the parents conflict a lot, they fight more often. These children, they will develop traumas. You find their classwork, they go down, they turn out to be very bad bullies. Some of them even find themselves into, they molest other kids unknowingly. So you are already determining the future of your child when you constantly. That's why I pray so much that may God give peace and grace to homes, because this thing is going deeper. Because it will be carried forward to their children as well. They are wounded, their children will be wounded.
That's
so
very true.
If there can be rescue, just rescue, and I think it can be mended on the top by parents. And also, another thing, a loophole that maybe we could be ignoring, if you are raising girls or you have a children, but you keep bringing in new people into the space of your family, or enda lala na anko yako, share the bed, because you find most of the rentals, they are either 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 1-bedroom. So you're like, share the bed with your aunt. Now, the kid is 2 years, probably they can't express much. During the night, something happens and they will never say it. Before you realize the kid is sexually active, something happened back then which you never addressed. So I think we need to be very, mom said something that I picked. You look with your ears and you see with the, that is how she puts it.
You listen with your eyes,
yes,
and look with, and hear with your ears.
That is
and
it.
With your eyes.
We don't need to bring people sharing beds with our children if we are not. Mimi, by the way, I always put my third eye very alert. Anywhere. Even amongst themselves, I must be very, you can't just, parents can be very naive and so trusting. Ni yango yake. They come back at Nini. Your little daughter and the uncle, and maybe you haven't grown with that.
You talked about apprehending these people who commit such felonies.
Yes.
There's a case we were handling sometimes back,
yes,
last year, 2023, last year. And in this case, it's the mother left, and the father was also remained with the daughter, who was around 9 years. And this father began molesting this child. So by the time it was discovered by this called the community health volunteers, the CHVs, the daughter had developed wounds and
herpes,
things like herpes through the thigh area. It was so ugly. So she was taken to the hospital and she could not say who did it. She was saying somebody else. So they were trying to ask the father, and the father was like, I have never known this. So everybody knew that the father was innocent. So the question of involving the father was out. So they knew it was somebody else in the village. So they began investigating. So at night, when this daughter was in the hospital, the father was guarding the daughter. The father was found sleeping with the daughter again in the hospital now. That's now when he was caught red-handed sleeping with the daughter.
My goodness.
So when this was brought to the clan so that this man would be arrested.
He's not even fearing the sickness.
The mother was called and the mother was told, you cannot take this thing outside. Number one, you are the mistake. They began blaming the wife. You are the mistake of leaving your daughter behind. And then now you want to say that it's your husband. How will the name of your husband come out? So everybody in the family did what? Sheltered the husband. And who suffered at long last is the baby. So they cannot arrest this child, this man again. And then it's so sad whereby the people you trust the most, because you see when a child is growing, the only person you trust is the father and the mother. The people you trust the most are the one now coming and doing such thing to you. It's very hard for this child to trust any other person in their life. So I don't know how this can be done.
I also think like mothers have a huge responsibility in shielding their children. Mothers, we carry a I don't take things like, I just take things like that. Even taking things to Shagwati, they are going to live with your mother for a whole holiday and you are not there. Your mother will be busy in the farm. Your father will be busy in the farm. The uncles, some of them, the most responsible ones, might be busy. The kids will be roaming with their second cousins and church members whom you don't even know nowadays. Homes are dysfunctional. They're being introduced, some to drugs, some they are being touched their private parts. So you don't keep your children in spaces where you cannot monitor them. That is one thing.
Wow.
Secondly, if you are married to a toxic husband, it is so selfish you to rescue yourself as a mom and you leave your daughters behind. Yeah, if you're married to a toxic man and maybe you have to exit for a while, carry your children. Carry your children, go and drink water and eat guava with them, but at least they will be safe with you. Because I'm very sure no mother will molest their daughter or their son. But if the person has been molesting you as a wife, beating you, probably they're doing the bang and such like things and watching all those junky things. Even if they don't molest them, they will expose them to a very toxic environment. They could bring their sexual partners home, or they could expose them to videos that are very funny.
I saw this happening in our home when my parents separated.
Yes.
My mother went away with all girls. She took
All the girls.
She took all the girls from the first born to the last born and went away with them and left the boys with their father. Maybe she was doing that knowingly or unknowingly, but I think it's a very important step. If you discover that you have a husband who cannot stand you
As a woman.
this is a man you can't stay with in the same house.
Yes.
And then you see he wants to kill you. What makes you think he cannot kill the daughter?
She won't have
So I think number one, as the wife, if you are trying to seek refuge for yourself, mind your daughters. Yeah, even if you're looking at where you are going so bad, there's no how you provide for them. Let them die of hunger than being killed by their fathers.
No, being traumatized by their father.
Even if their father is someone who you think he can't go, that you never know with these people.
Yes.
Sexual abuse goes deep to the soul. It will take a lot of work.
What I've discovered with the human beings is that sometimes I tend even to think that animals are even better than us. You never find a dog climbing on a very small puppy. They can't. You'll find a dog looking for almost the age mate, even if it's a cousin, but almost same age mate.
Mating with the age
mate. You'll never find a dog or even cows climbing on a calf. They can't. But as human beings, we say that we have common sense. We are made in the image of God. We are the people who are going to rape children, our own. Not neighbor's child, my own daughter. Then tell me what can I not do?
I'm really finding our today's discussion very, very important, and I'm also quite sad because of that question that came, and I want Pastor to tell us now. This girl, she's no longer a girl; she's now married. She has a family, and she cannot enjoy, sex, and she's traumatized and all that. So how do you help this girl who was, abused at 7 years, 8 years?
Yes.
And probably she doesn't want also to disclose the same now to the husband, because it could bring now a lot of other issues.
Yeah, and the question, why did you not tell me?
Exactly. So how do you help such kind of a woman? Because now she's now a woman.
I think the first thing is to look for a counselor. Someone who can be able to help your wife, who can be able to help you the woman, you who is the victim. You need to seek help. Because number one, already, you are in a quagmire. You are in a situation you cannot help yourself. So what do? You need to get someone who can get into your circle and help you out. Otherwise, you may not help yourself. And if you're not very careful, this can lead you to depression and later on to suicide. You will also find children who are in blended family, raping each other. Or even having sex with one another. So you have to be very careful. If you married with a daughter, you will find that the foster father wants to take advantage of her. So it's like you are two wives. Or you found a family, you came with your children, and the other person also had children. You see now they have no blood relation. So they are likely to rape each other, they are likely to have sex with one another. That's one of the
And
things
it's happening in many homes.
Yeah, it can bring even rape, because now they feel like they are obligated to sleep with their sisters and their brothers because they know they are not blood related. And so rape can also come in blooded families. And that's why you have to, your eye must be very open and your ear to know, is there anything that is going fishy? And make sure that you create a report and keep on reminding them that it is not possible for them to have sex because you and the father are now one. You know, also you will also find families whereby there are children who are disabled are also very vulnerable to being raped, because this disabled child who is maybe is not okay, has autism, severe autism, or has a disability, they are seriously taken advantage of by the caregivers.
Because they need help.
Yeah, because they need help. You have to, everything. They have to depend on someone. You get that. And that's why you find not many will look for, even when you have a disabled child who is a baby boy, you would prefer having a mother figure in their lives, as you have said. It's very hard to find women who can take advantage of women sexually unless there is something that is triggering them. There is a trigger, there is something they are watching or listening that triggers them. So also disability. You will find so many disabled children. You think of mad women who are having children in the streets, and you wonder, this woman is a mad woman. But she keeps getting children, has over 10 children.
On the streets, actually.
Yeah. And not that they sleep with other mad men. No, the normal men take advantage of her.
This thing goes back to men, fathers. Because you find that, we said in another episode that when you see your marriage is falling or failing, we trace back to the husband, who is the head of the family. When a company is performing poorly, we go back to the manager. The
CEO.
Yeah. Also, this thing whereby you find that cases of being raped, it's always men playing the roles. When you talk about prostitutes are on the streets, these prostitutes, there's somewhere she was hurt by a man, somewhere, either father or letting go just a friend. We see that women are saying that, oh, I can't marry again. She was broken by a man somewhere. Although some men are being hurt, but I think it's just because we've left our
biggest percentage, you would say like
it's
almost
men.
85%. Men plays a very important role for the well-being of the society.
When we talk about sodomy, it's still man and child.
And
when we talk about being raped, it's a man and a daughter.
By the way,
I've not heard whereby a mother
rapes
a son, or a mother, or even me being raped by my wife. How will she rape me unless I erect?
Thank you.
And erecting is my will.
It's your will.
When I erect, I say, okay, come on.
Yes.
But for a woman, whether she's wet or not, you just
penetrate.
And don't you think, therefore, it is now very crucial? And I don't know why, therefore, someone would feel like this information is not important or it's too early when we talk about now sex education to the children, because without creating curiosity. Because I'm trying to imagine if this child who was raped at 7 years, probably they were empowered, they would have probably ran away or did something to defend themselves.
Oh yes.
And that's why now we can't keep quiet about this.
No, you can't keep
because we don't know
sexuality.
Who is who. Your enemy could be right inside where you are living.
Your brother, your sister, whom you have invited in your house.
House help.
Yeah, house boys.
House boy. So when you don't empower our children the right way, then we are exposing them.
Exactly.
It's going to become very bad. And that's why I think even what we are doing in terms of even, doing seminars for children, for teenagers, and we are saying as early as what age a child needs to be introduced to sex education.
As early as 4 years, because now we have always said that you, the parent, you're the only one who sees your daughter and your son as a child. Any other person in the community, in the estate, in your vicinity sees your daughter and your son as a sexual partner. And most parents are naive. They think that they trust easily. They feel like,
everybody is a parent
to your daughter, to your son. No. And that's why you have to teach your children about their private parts, that nobody should touch them. You should teach them about sex, why they should not have sex when they are children. And if someone is suggesting to them something like that, you should have a very good rapport with your child. Rapport such that they can come and tell you, Dad, so-and-so was telling me this, Mom, so-and-so was telling me this. And you're able to take measures as early as possible. You see that? But now most of the parents, they are saying, no, they are very young. They are very young, but they are being sodomized. They are very young, but they are being raped. They are very young, but they are being taken advantage of. I was talking to a daughter who is now in secondary school, and they found that this girl always have suicidal attempts. Kumbe, she was raped when she was 3 years. By who? By the brother, I think the brother or the brother to the wife or the mother who was staying with them. And he did this severally. Uncle. You see now?
Uncle.
Yeah. But to them, they were calling him as their firstborn. Even they used to introduce him as their firstborn.
Wow.
You get that? But took advantage of this girl. And she's so bitter. Now these memories keep playing in her mind. She's now depressed, taking drugs. She's not able to concentrate. And yet she's in a very good school. And the father and the mother were feeling so devastated. And they were wondering, we trusted our brother. We trusted him with our children. Kumbe, he's the same one who became, a predator to our daughter. And so these things are real, parents. If you're not a victim, please don't be quick to shout and say, where are the statistics? Go on Google and see how children are getting molested on a day-to-day life. News. People have stopped watching news. Go to the TVs and see how children are getting sexually molested, right, left, center. And so we cannot be quiet, because there are people who are taking advantage of this. And when they watch these pornographic materials, they want to go and practice with the children. They want to go and practice with your daughter and your son. So if your daughter and your son does not have this knowledge, they are easily going to be taken advantage of. So when we have now children also who are disabled, as we have said, families that are dysfunctional, children are alone, some of them are left alone. You cannot afford now to leave children playing. Someone may come and take them. There's a lot of children trafficking. You get that, that you left your children with the neighbors. If there is nobody who is a guardian to watch them, please, you have to be very careful. Days are gone when we would leave our children to play by themselves, and then somebody comes with the sweets, and within no time they have been put in a car and they are driven, and you don't know which direction to look for them. So we cannot afford to even leave our children to go to school in the morning by themselves. And in the morning you find a daughter walking for 2 kilometers, and they are very small. Unless in the shags. I don't know whether
in the shags.
I've seen this. I always get traumatized on my own. I find very small girls very early in the morning at 5 at 4. Or about a person coming to pick a daughter and then take him to school very early. How do you trust this?
And you are left asleep.
Yes, you are left asleep, and you trust this border person taking. I remember she told me something that her father used to take them to school. Taking them to school in the morning.
Daddy would just leo amkeni and mkombele yake na mnaenda, and then he comes back.
For the sake of their safety. When my kids, when we were in Kakamega, they used to go to school very early. I will take them until ensure they are now in the bus. Then I go back home.
Thank you.
And it was not very far. I could never just start them walking to the road and then coming back. I would never allow that. So I don't know how you just find a parent in the blanket, very peaceful, and kids are going to school passing very, very, very dangerous paths and routes. Bushes.
Imagine.
And they're going to school or even crossing this road. Ata kama see mambo ya raping, even accidents. Kids crossing very busy highways. The school the other side, you just let them cross and go at a day. No, it shouldn't be so. We are being careless.
Also,
I think we are also lazy.
Lazy and careless.
There is a moral degradation in our society. As a society, I don't know what can be done, but maybe this is just a call to awakenness. One, if there is just a way, one day, it is my prayer that this company that produces porn, one day it just get disbanded all over the world. It's not even serving the humanity. It should just be disbanded because it's the cause of many, many dark sexual offenses. Secondly, how I wish men would just rise up. If you are a man, you are close to a girl, you are a father, you are a brother, you are an uncle, protect that person.